Hello, Seiiti Arata. Imagine you have a headache and then you go to the pharmacy and they present you with two options for medicine. One of them is a generic painkiller and the other pill is specific for headaches. Which one of these two medicines would you choose to take? If you are like most people, you would choose to take the specific one for headaches, right? The other pill would be more generic to cure any type of pain. But the one for headache seems to be exactly what you need. This is just an example to show how we are conditioned to believe that the more specialized something is, the better it will be. The same thinking has been used as a rule in the labor market for many years. To this day, it is normal that the more specialized a professional is, the greater their salary will be. This is just because of the law of supply and demand. More specialized professionals are rarer in the market. And in addition to this, they probably possess unique knowledge and experience. That is why people are more willing to pay more to hire these professionals with expertise. It is critical that you understand this if you want to increase your salary. However, that logic has changed over the past few years. And nowadays, in addition to having expertise in a specific area, you also need to have knowledge in multiple different areas. Be a generalist, specialist professional. Imagine that we're getting to know each other today. Then I would ask you, what is your answer to the famous question, what do you do for a living? Just close your eyes and imagine right now, how would you normally be introducing yourself? Alright, now read what you wrote and compare it to the example that I gave in the beginning of this conversation. Does your presentation look more like a generic painkiller for all types of pains? Or is it more like a specific headache remedy? Ideally, your answer shouldn't be at either end of the scale. Currently, what is most valued in the market is the professional with the T-shaped skill, the generalist, specialist professional. In recent years, companies have begun to realize that it's not enough for a professional to be extremely specialized in one woke area. They also need to be knowledgeable in multiple different areas, even though they might not be having such an in-depth knowledge. This is what is called the T-shaped professional. Imagine the image of a letter T. The top represents the broad, generic, horizontal knowledge, and the deeper horizontal axis represents your specialized knowledge. Remember the exercise that we just did? How would you present yourself? Did you say just something basic like I'm an architect, I'm a journalist, I'm an administrator? The vertical part of the T shape requires you to have a more specific presentation. For example, I'm an architect with focus on sustainable buildings that use wood. Or I'm an investigative journalist in the food industry, or I'm an administrator of non-governmental organization focused on helping children in need. How to become a T-shaped professional. Now that you've understood the importance of being a generalist, specialist professional, the question arises of how to become a T-shaped professional. First, we're going to consider the vertical part of the model, the specialized knowledge. To become a specialist, you need to acquire two things, knowledge and experience. And to acquire knowledge, the traditional route is through schools and colleges. There's also the very efficient path of self-learning. Since you're here, talking here with us in this conversation, I already assume that you have self-taught behavior. If you're here right now learning how to become a better professional, you are already a type of person who is interested in the process of continuous improvement. Congratulations. In addition to the traditional academic training, this is the best way for you to become acquiring specialized knowledge. It is searching for videos on the internet, reading books about your particular area of expertise, dedicating some minutes of your day to continue becoming better at what you do. You should consciously conduct daily activities with the specific purpose of strengthening your knowledge in that particular area of expertise. And at the same time, you should put this knowledge into practice. You have to gain experience. Ideally, this experience should be gained by doing internships, by having temporary jobs, or even a fixed job. And in this way, you gain experience on a paid basis. Great for you. But if you can't get a paid job right now, the way to gain experience is by volunteering and by creating your own projects. You can volunteer to do your work for free at NGOs and schools and other similar institutions. Or you can create a company by yourself, and then you can offer to do your jobs like a freelancer and create an initiative on the internet. For both knowledge and experience, you need proactivity. That is, you just can't sit waiting for opportunities to arise. You need to put some work in and create your own opportunities. When you do this for several years, you will gradually become the best specialist in that area. But this is not enough for you to be the highest paid professional. You need to explore other areas of knowledge. With focused knowledge and experience, you become an expert in one area of expertise. You form the vertical part of this T-shaped professional. But that's only half of the way. You also need to form the horizontal part of this T-shape. You need to explore other areas of knowledge, areas that will turn you into a more complete professional. And ideally, this knowledge from other areas will help you to solve different kinds of problems. You can start with your own personal development. You can learn to become more productive, to manage your time better, to be more focused. You can also learn, for example, other things like how to improve your diet so you have more energy. You can meditate to improve your concentration, or you can sleep better to be healthier. And then you can explore the so-called interpersonal intelligence. You can learn how to deal better with other people, how to be more empathetic, how to deal with difficult people. And finally, you can also hone your analytical intelligence. You can learn how to handle numbers and statistics and how to deal with technology, how to invest your money. Numbers. You also need a new kind of a knowledge. You have to know how to sell yourself, because it's no use for you to have great expertise and to explore so many different areas of knowledge if you don't know how to present yourself, how to sell your own value. Even if you don't work with trade and sales, you still need to develop this. Know how to sell yourself. It is through the sale that you will explain to your potential client or to your potential employer that you can actually perform well, that you can do something of great value. Let's do an exercise together. Close your eyes. Try to imagine yourself persuading a company or a client to hire your services. You need to convince that you are the right person for that job, not your competitor. How do you feel? Some people have very negative feelings associated with selling. We usually associate salesmen with manipulation and fooling other people and taking advantage of others. You see, this is a little bit of a prejudice that you have to give up if you really want to become a professional with greater recognition. Don't make the mistake of thinking that your work will stand out by itself and that opportunities will magically just fall in your lap. You have to do the job of selling yourself. The job market rewards people who stand out. Years ago, you could differentiate yourself by having a degree. But with each passing day, those titles are less and less important if you want to have greater professional recognition. And of course, receive more money because of that. You need to stand out. You need to remember the law of supply and demand. And the more rare your professional profile can be in the market, the better you're going to be. A professional that employers and clients both will look a lot for, and they want to pay more to have the privilege of hiring. Choose one area of expertise, select a niche market, and begin to gain knowledge and experience until you become the best in the world in that niche. And at the same time, invest in broader areas of knowledge to develop yourself better as a person, to better relate to others, and to be comfortable with new technologies. You see, life has changed. There is so much more competition today. Not just when I say competition, not other professionals, but also you're competing with algorithms and robots and all types of other innovations. Invest in your process of continuous improvement to differentiate yourself. The job market rewards the people who stand out, both by giving greater recognition and also by offering better wages, better payments. If you want to know how to be more valued by the job market and, of course, get paid more, have a look at our Double Your Salary course and watch a special class that is available in arata.se/DYS.